In 1590, an entire English colony disappeared without a trace. No bodies, no signs of struggle, no explanation. Only one word was left behind: CROATOAN. The Roanoke Colony was one of the first serious attempts by England to establish a permanent settlement in North America. At that time, European powers were locked in a global race for land, power, and resources in the New World. Spain was dominating most of the Americas. France was expanding in the north, and England was struggling to keep up. Roanoke was meant to change that, but instead, it became one of history's greatest mysteries. In 1585, the first English settlers arrived on Roanoke Island. At first, the location seemed promising, but reality quickly became harsh. The settlers were not prepared for the environment they faced. Food was limited, supply lines were weak, and communication with Native American tribes was unstable. Some encounters were peaceful and cooperative. Others were tense and filled with distrust on both sides. As time passed, survival became the main priority. The original goal of building a permanent colony slowly collapsed. By 1586, the first settlement was completely abandoned. Despite this failure, England tried again in 1587. This time, a new group of settlers was sent, led by John White. Unlike the first attempt, this colony included families, women, and children. It was meant to be a permanent settlement, not a temporary outpost, a true English foothold in North America. Among the settlers was John White's granddaughter, Virginia Dare. She became the first English child born in the New World. Her birth was seen as a symbol of hope and the future of the colony. Shortly after arrival, however, the settlers realized they were running out of essential supplies. Food, tools, and reinforcements were urgently needed. John White agreed to return to England to gather help. He expected to return quickly, but history changed everything. While White was in England, a major war broke out between England and Spain. The Anglo-Spanish War made sea travel extremely dangerous. Ships were attacked, trade routes were disrupted, and England focused much of its attention on military survival. Because of this, White's return was delayed again and again. Months turned into years. Eventually, 3 full years passed before he could return. When John White finally returned to Roanoke in 1590, he expected to find a struggling but surviving colony. Instead, he found nothing. No settlers, no bodies, no signs of battle or destruction, only abandoned structures and complete silence. It was as if the entire colony had simply vanished. The only clue left behind was a single word carved into wood: CROATOAN. There were no crosses, no distress symbols, no written messages explaining what had happened. Only that one word. Before leaving for England, White had agreed with the settlers that if they were forced to relocate, they would leave a message indicating where they had gone. This made the word CROATOAN incredibly important. CROATOAN likely referred to either a nearby island or a Native American tribe in the region. Some historians believe it may have been a planned relocation point, a place where the settlers would go if they could no longer remain on Roanoke Island. But this has never been confirmed. Over time, several theories emerged about what happened. One theory suggests the settlers joined native tribes to survive harsh conditions. This theory remains one of the most widely accepted among historians today. Another theory suggests they died from disease, starvation, or environmental collapse. Life in the early colonies was extremely difficult, and many settlements struggled simply to survive. A third theory suggests they moved inland in search of better resources and were never found again. And some believe they may have been destroyed in conflict. However, none of these theories have ever been proven. Archaeologists have discovered artifacts in surrounding regions that suggest possible interaction between English settlers and native tribes. These include metal tools, weapons, pottery, and other European-style items. Some findings suggest cultural mixing may have occurred over time, but none of this provides a clear answer. No remains have ever been definitively identified. No settlement has ever been confirmed, and no written record explains exactly what happened. Because of this, Roanoke remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Most historians today agree that the most likely explanation is some form of assimilation with local tribes, but even that remains unproven. The truth is still unknown, and the evidence has been lost to time. More than 4 centuries later, the mystery continues to fascinate historians, archaeologists, and curious minds around the world. The Roanoke Colony remains one of history's most disturbing mysteries. Because the real question isn't just where they went, it's how more than 100 people could disappear without leaving a single trace